Okay, welcome back to this video series. What we're going to do in this game this time is we're going to keep on making this game, and our mission today is to actually make this timer. That's going to use the same logic we just did with the movement, but it's going to need a variable to help us keep track of the time. When you're done with this video, you'll have a variable some variable that's helping you create a ticking timer. So you'll see the time like ticking away. It keeps ticking until the enemy has touched it. So it's going to be one of those repeat until situations, and then make sure the timer stops when the spaceship is caught. So we're going to do those three things in this video. So let's hop back to our game, and we'll get that going. Okay, where we left off, we had, again, we're still in the spaceship's brain. Everybody else is fine. We're just going to work with the spaceship, and we wrote this amazing code using this repeat until, keep doing these things until something happens. Beautiful. What we're going to do is we're going to move that over to make room, and we need a new when the green flag is clicked. So that'll help us have some parallel coding blocks going on. Now, the first thing we've got to do, so do this with me, make sure you got that there. The first thing we need is we need a new variable. So the variable is in this data tab, this orange one, and I'm going to come out here, I'm going to make a new variable. So make sure you hit this first one, not make a list, make a variable. It's fine for it to be available to all the sprites. That means the octopus can see this, and the ship can see it, and the stage could see it. And you can name it whatever. I'm going to name mine clock. So basically clock is really just a cup where we can put a number. And this number's name is clock. That's all this is. Now you'll notice it goes ahead and shows itself, and it's at 0. Now, basically there are two things you got going on with a variable. You can set it, and you can change it. Set means ignore what's in there right now and replace it with this number. Change means take a look at what's in there, add this number to it, and change it. So I'm just going to show you real quick. If I took this clock right here, and I can put whatever number I want to in there, and I could say anytime they click the green flag, change the clock by 5. So right now it's 0. I press this, it became 5. Next time I press it, it's going to take that 5, add this 5 to it, it's going to become 10. This time when I press the green flag, it's going to be a 10, add that 5 to the 10, it's going to be 15. So you're changing it by 5 each time you click. Now that's not what we want to do, but that's what that is. Setting the clock is also important. Right now there's a 30 on that clock. When the green flag is clicked, I could say set it to be 0. That says I don't care about that 30, erase the 30 with a 0. So that's what those two blocks do. They're amazing. You're going to love them. Now, let's go ahead and start building this timer. It's important that you begin this, so make sure you do this with me, with your setting the clock to 0 at the beginning of the game. So you want to make sure when the game starts, everything gets reset. I'm going to take this change block. I'm going to put a 1 here. Now, you don't want to just butt these up next to each other, because basically every time you start the game, it becomes 0, changes to 1, that's it. So it'd be really lame. What you want is you want to keep adding 1 to that clock. So it'll be ticking, ticking, ticking. So if you want to add 1 and then you add 1 again, you want to add 1 again, we're going to hit our control structure. And I'm looking for a loop that would let me do something over and over and over again. I got 3 different kinds of loops, right? Forever is kind of the one we used a lot. We could say only do it so many times, but we're going to grab this guy that says keep doing this until something happens. So grab him, put him here, pause me if you need to catch up, go over to sensing with me, and I want to keep timing until we hit the octopus, because that's kind of the end of the game. So notice, one time the clock goes to 0. That only happens once, it's not being repeated. Then inside this sandwich, I'm going to put this that says add 1 to it, add 1 to it, add 1 to it, and keep doing that. Now it's going to look a little crazy right now. It needs some fine tuning, because take a look. Whoops. Look how fast it's going over here. Right? It just keeps adding 1, adding it. But then the good news is when I touch the octopus, it just stopped. Now, that's pretty cool to look at, but it's not actually a time interval. Right? Those aren't seconds, those aren't minutes. So I'm going to show you one other trick. You could hit your control block here, grab this wait, put it inside that sandwich so it waits before it counts. Comes back around, waits and counts. Comes back around, waits and counts. So the wait and the counting are both happening repeatedly. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000. So take a look at your timer, make sure it's running right, make sure your game does exactly like this, and then when it ends, boom. And so now we have kind of a actual second hand on our clock. Let me show you one other cool thing. These numbers don't have to be 1. You do want them to match though, right? But you could do a fraction. A decimal, I'm sorry. Make sure they match. So wait 1/100th of a second and then change the clock by 1/100th of a second. Now that's pretty cool. But you could do 0.5 seconds, you could do 0.25 seconds. As long as those two numbers match, then you have like a real ticking clock, and it's beautiful. Okay, so what you've got right now is a ticking clock that stops when you get caught by that octopus because it's repeat until. Next video, we're going to kind of put the finishing touches on this game, so you'll be done.